Okay, Amazon's Jack Reacher. Very concerned when I heard this was announced because Amazon's good about getting with the message nowadays, and based on what I seen they were doing to Lord of the Rings, and even though I haven't read it, the direction I heard they were taking the Wheel of Time and how fans talked about they were messing it up, I had my concerns because I really like the books, and Jack Reacher, I worried would just be a very problematic character to adapt properly. I mean, yeah, the straight white dude has not gotten treated the best in media here lately. And when I heard they were going with the killing floor, I'm like, oh, this is just great. I can see it now. All series, Finley and Roscoe are going to be putting him in his place, figuring out things ahead of him, and Roscoe's probably going to be able to outfight him. I'm like, yeah, no way this is going to be good. Well, I got to check it out, and it's accurate to who Reacher is and a mostly accurate book adaptation. And the liberties taken, I really don't mind. Reacher is pretty much what you see in the books, only with a more stated personality, because if you read the books, it's not that he has no personality, but he has a very subtle personality. And the actor they got, I believe his name is Alan Richardson, he was phenomenal. He brought Reacher to life. This series was great. I actually, because of I didn't realize it was a fan image of it. One of the first images I seen connected to the series was Reacher getting off a bus in the snow, which got my hopes up because this is my favorite Jack Reacher book, 61 Hours. It wasn't that, but it adapted the first book, Killing Floor, rather well. The characters were very well done. In some cases, there were some things that I can't help but wonder, is this kind of an in-joke to the fans? Like, the character Finley, he kind of pokes fun at people for cussing, and there is a lot of that in the series, but in the books, it's rare that you find any cussing whatsoever, so I kind of feel like the lines from Finley was kind of put in there as an in-joke to the fans of the book. And it even gave us a character from another book, a character we met in a book that would come out years later, The Enemy Within, another former soldier, military police that worked with Reacher, and her character I really enjoyed. She kind of had this very sarcastic rapport with Reacher where she'll talk back to him a lot more than the others, but you can tell it's kind of a give and take, and these two have such a history together that it just works that well, and I enjoyed her inclusion to the story. She was a very fun, entertaining character. The actress brought her to life really well, and again, the show had given my more than gained my confidence by then, but if I could have easily seen that be the character that just winds up completely denigrating Reacher. The story is simple with good twists and turns. Reacher shows up in a town called Margrave where his favorite blues singer was supposedly died years ago. One of the nitpicks I will take, in the series we don't get a resolution with what happened to Blind Blake, where in the book it's actually explained. And because a dead body turned up, and Reacher's the new guy in town. He gets arrested. He winds up in jail with someone who confessed to the murder, and they actually wind up not in county lockup, but in federal gen pop. It's clear one of them was meant to be killed, and we find out shortly after that, after Reacher and the other guy, Hubble, get out of jail, that it was Reacher's brother that was murdered, and this is where it becomes personal. Even though Reacher didn't always have the best relationship with his brother and they hadn't talked in years, now he's out for blood and he gets his blood. I'm not going to say what the scam or plot the villains are doing, but it's very clever, better explained in the book, and it actually left out one of my favorite scenes, which is a negative. I really can't talk about this scene without divulging what's going on, but, it's typical fare. Reacher has good people he's working with. There's corrupt city officials. There's even a nearby town where the lake has just died. There's something bad in the water, and a EPA agent who was examining it was found dead. So there's definitely something going on. Even characters we only see in a few episodes get great development, like the guy Hubble who was arrested with Reacher, where he has to become this whole other creature to protect his family, and it was really well done. It felt really well earned, and you can believe, even though this guy doesn't have any training, when that I gotta save my family side comes out of him, that he would turn himself by force into this whole different creature. And again, I keep going back to Alan Richardson, how much he nailed Reacher. I'm not saying Tom Cruise was a bad Reacher. He actually nailed the personality pretty well. He just didn't match the physical description. Which, to be fair, if I had to choose between taking someone who can do the personality but not fit the physical description, or fit the physical description but not do the personality, I'll take the one that can do the personality. With Alan Richardson, we get the best of both worlds. Not only does he nail the personality, but he's got the 6'6" going. He is built. He looks like he can snap Tom Cruise's Reacher like a toothpick. And Reacher is every bit as smart and tough as he should be. I thoroughly enjoyed this series. I'm giving it an A, maybe A minus around there. Your mileage may vary with this series, and your mileage is probably going to go a lot further if you are familiar with the books, but I think it's still enjoyable, and it does feel like a late 90s action movie, which the book started publication in the late 90s, so that's kind of fitting. I'm really looking forward to season 2, and I hope they don't really go in order of the books. There's a lot of room to skip around. I do want to see 61 Hours adapted, and the great thing about the Reacher books is, and I hope it stays true with the series, you don't necessarily need to read the previous book to understand what's going on. This can easily be your first Jack Reacher book, and you won't be lost, and I hope they carry that through with the series. Now, there are a few outliers, and I think with Never Go Back, and although I like that movie, adapting Never Go Back was before 61 Hours, and this is a whole other rant, but it was a mistake because that's the outlier. There's a character that's a major part of Never Goes Back that he meets in this one talking on the phone, so yeah, at least with that, if they're going to, at some point, we want to do a Never Go Back adaptation in the series, do 61 hours, then Worth Dying For. This way we can get the full context. And in fact, even Worth Dying For, Reacher has some issues in that occur at the end of this book. So, like, those are the outliers, but for the most part, I've never read a Reacher book. Where should I start? Just find one where the plot sounds most interesting with you, because every book is pretty much a standalone, with the few exceptions where Jack Reacher is the only constant in the series. So, like, share, comment, subscribe, over and out.